Welcome to the Dragon's Library, your source for games, movies, shows, and more. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dragon's Library. Today we're going to be talking about a new book I absolutely adore. It's A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I know, I'm on a Naomi Novik kick. Don't worry, this will be the last one from her for a while. I've got a few other books I want to read. Actually, fun spoiler for the future. In preparation for Dune coming out, I'm actually going to start listening to Dune on audiobook. I've already gotten it. And it's going to take a while. Don't expect this one anytime soon. It's a 21-hour audiobook, so it'll take a while, but, hang in tight. That'll be coming out soon. Look forward to that. Definitely try and get up for the movie. We can enjoy geeking out over the book before we start judging the movie for how it doesn't hold up to the book. I might even review the old movie, too, if I feel like it. To really get into the spirit. So, yeah. That's future plans, though. So, let's get started on today. Today, we're talking about Deadly Education. And for those of you who don't know, I am a big Naomi Novik fan. She wrote the Temeraire series, which I think is one of the best Dragon Rider book series ever. Recently, I also read Uprooted, and I geeked out over that 2 episodes ago, so, Deadly Education is the first book of the Scholomance series, and the next one's going to be coming out in September, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be the last graduate. Look forward to that as well as a future review. So yeah, let's get straight into it. This will be in the non-spoiler section, so feel free to listen to this even if you haven't read the book yet. I'll let you know when we start getting to spoilers. So, first up, the Scholomance. For those of you who don't know, which I will assume is most of the audience, the Scholomance is actually a Transylvanian folktale about a school for wizards run by the devil. This is the old folktale, not the book itself. It's the stuff it's based on. And apparently they study black magic in windowless, sunless areas with no plant life, locked away in basically a school of a dungeon of a school for many years. And then one of the graduates become like a dragon rider or whatever. It doesn't have much bearing on the books, except for the whole, sunless prison of a school that vibe. So, in Deadly Education, there are wizards, magic users in the world. There are also the mundane. Think very much Harry Potter. They really want you to feel Harry Potter with this. There are a lot of similarities. Mundanes really don't believe in magic. Unlike in Harry Potter, though, there's actually a little bit more to that. See, magic is heavily influenced by belief. You have to believe you're able to do something in order to do it. So mundanes apparently over the years have become so intolerant to magic that when they look at something that's magic, it loses most of its power. And as a result, all the monsters that usually hunt mages, which is why being a mage kind of sucks in this world, because there are all these monsters, some natural, some created through, spells and artifice gone wrong. They try to hunt down wizards and eat their magic so they can sustain themselves. But mundanes, when they look at these monsters, they literally see some stuff like rats, and the monster loses so much of its power that it might as well be a rat. There's actually a story the main character talks about because she went to a mundane school to hide from the monsters when she was younger. She tells a story about how a monster tried to get at her, but one of the teachers thought it was a rat and took out a bat and started bashing it. And by the time it was done, this, monstrous devourer of mages was literally little more than something about the size of a smashed up rat carcass. It had literally turned into something as weak as a rat and been smashed to death by a mundane. So, being a magic user is actually more dangerous than being a non-magic user, because it's not like there's a bunch of monsters that can indiscriminately kill humans or whatever. No, humans are safe. It's the mages and wizards and witches that are in danger. And actually they go to a lot more danger. See, as they get older, witches and wizards, their magic begins to peak. Monsters suddenly can smell them much more clearly. It's sort of the Percy Jackson demigod thing, where as they reach a certain age, their scent becomes really, really intoxicating to monsters. But if they get old enough, they might be strong enough to, fend off monsters. But while they're at that impressionable age of, basically high school, 14 to 18, their scents are strong enough to attract tons of monsters, but they're not powerful enough for a lot of the weaker monsters to leave them alone. So they get swarmed. If left to their own devices, the average survival rate is something like 1 in 20. Not great. So a long time ago, a bunch of really powerful mages got together and built this school outside our reality in what's called the Void. It only has a single entrance to it, and all the students get teleported in at the beginning of the school year. The school's designed to try and be as safe as possible. which means it only has a 1 in 4 death rate. You know, you have a 1 in 4 survival rate there, because that's safe. Yeah. So basically the way it works is that monsters gather up near the portal, the exit, the graduation hall as they call it, which is where all the seniors get dumped in during the graduation. Basically they get locked in their rooms, the whole school moves downward, new rooms are added to the top, and the seniors get locked, only the graduation hall's exit to go. Now, the upper floors get cleaned every year by these, like, magical infernos. But the mechanisms that were supposed to clean the graduation hall got damaged, and every time they try and replace them, yeah, they'll work for 1 or, maybe 3 years at most. Then they'll get broken again by the monsters, because that's where all the monsters crowd around, and most of them can't get out, so they just sit there with nothing to do. And every time they try to fix them, tons of really powerful mages died, so eventually they're like, sorry kids, that's just your lot. So, not great. Not a great experience overall. The upper halls are, they get safer the higher you are. So the freshmen are the safest areas, the cafeterias. Sophomores are a bit less safe. Juniors are even less safe. And the seniors are literally just a floor above the graduation hall. So they're, always in danger of a monster getting through the cracks. And as the school year gets closer to the end, more and more monsters show up in the halls and more of them slip through the cracks. So the school gets more and more dangerous the later in the year it is. So imagine finals, but you also have to deal with monsters trying to kill you. Oh, and your work will actively hunt you down with extra remedial work if you don't complete it. And trying to attack you. So, However, the school was designed to help get the students accumulated. Spell books are kind of sentient in this world. If you create a spell, it'll turn into a pseudo spell book and it'll vanish somewhere. Eventually someone will find it, because they have kind of a mind of their own. And the Scholomance is sort of a hub for them. Students with a understanding of different languages, they have to study languages in order to understand more spells. The more languages you know, the better repertoire of spells you'll have. However, there's also the downside of if you start studying a language, because you read one book on it, on how the language, like the basics, the school might suddenly decide that you know the language inside and out, and if you don't fully understand all the spell books it gives you, you can be locked. And you could potentially lock yourself out of magic for the rest of your life with only those spells available. And if you do this really early on, you could, basically be screwed. You're dead. So it's a big, it's all this big mind game. It's basically every student goes in with strategy. Or most of them do. Because we find out that some mundanes give birth to, non-natively born magic users. So muggles giving birth to mudbloods, like in Harry Potter. And that's not like, ooh, look, she's so talented, she's a prodigy, and she's not even from a magic family. No. The one character we find out about this got pulled into the school because apparently one of the students lived next to her. She didn't even know she had magic, but one of the students who was supposed to be going to school got killed or something, and she was close enough that the spell latched onto her before because the parents forgot to take her off the registry after she died, or he or she died. They never specify who. And she got killed by a dark mage who's been sucking life force out of his fellow students to fuel his magic, because that's also a thing. There's a whole big thing about how everybody cheats a little, maybe they kill a colony of ants, but if you do anything more than that, you'll start, basically turn into a magic vampire. And eventually, and it's not like the immortality thing either. You slowly get more and more decay, it takes more and more magic to keep yourself whole, and you'll just burn yourself out and collapse in on yourself, and they'll find a bunch of dead bodies and be like, oh, he seems so nice. Oh yeah, he was a sociopath. So those are called maleficers. And the main character is kind of interesting. So, and I'm finally getting to the main character. So her big thing is that she, her mother is like the nice healing witch who sits in the magic circles and everybody loves her. But because of the laws of balance, her daughter has a specialty affinity, because every mage has an affinity, the kind of books the school recommends to them, the kind of magic that comes most easy. And her type of magic is summoning waves of demon armies and unleashing infernos of magically conjured fire that can burn away even the soul. And it's like, yeah, but I also don't have the power to cast any of this nonsense, because you have to gather up the magic on your own, and a single spellcaster can't gather all on their own. Also, because of my affinity, if I try and cheat and grab a little bit at a time, malefice a few ants here and there, my grab is so powerful I probably accidentally suck the life out of 5 people and, reduce my own lifespan by like a decade. So she can't even cheat a little bit like everyone else can. she has to go on strict mana, doing push-ups and stuff like that, slowly converting the energy and the effort into magic to fuel her spells, which is really exhausting, and she has to really ration what magic she used because she's been saving it for 2 reasons. One, to pull off a really cool spell and kill some major monster to prove herself to all the Coven kids, the ones who are from massive magical compounds and families all grouped together over the years, so she can get an alliance. Then during graduation, use all her stored up mana plus the mana of her new allies to pave a path straight to the door with her, immensely powerful spells that she needs a lot of power to actually use that she doesn't have. And this all goes sideways when she gets rescued by Orion. The start of the book starts with a Soul Eater having busted into her room, and it's revealed that she actually had a spell to kill it, and even, take its magical materials, offer it to an artificer. She killed a Soul Eater. Ooh, everybody's be so impressed. But Orion chased into her room and accidentally killed it before she got a chance, and then everyone found out, so now she's known as the damsel in distress who Orion Blake saved. And so Elle is like, oh god, she has to reinvent her whole strategy and try and leverage her new connection to Orion for whatever it's worth at the time. And over the time, she slowly becomes friends and realizes she actually kind of had a similar life to Orion. I won't spoil that, but basically her life is that she has this natural thing where everyone seems to hate her on sight. She just has a really bad aura to her. And even her great-grandmother on her father's side, who died getting their mom out, when they were all happy to get them, and then the great-grandmother literally lays eyes on her, tried to touch her, and went into a seer fit, and said she was destined to bring about ruin and decay and all this other stuff. The classic, she's the dark lady, a dark lord, the evil sorceress that'll bring ruin. Basically, she's Voldemort, but she doesn't want to be Voldemort. She's trying really hard not to be Voldemort, and even though she's like, if I'm, left with no other choice, I will, she has several points in the book where she's near death, and it's like, okay, this is the time when I want to do it. I have no choice. I have to do it. I have to just suck out a few people's lives. It's them or me. People here understand that. They might not like it. I'll be outcast, but at least I'll have the power to survive. But she doesn't do it. Because it turns out she doesn't want to be what everyone wants her to be. And I just thought it was a really interesting character arc. I do. I actually like her as a character. Even though her whole character has been designed to be unlikable, I like her because she doesn't want to be what everyone else wants her to be. And that's actually what brings Orion to her. It's partially, and no, I'll say it for spoilers. But yeah, that's partially what draws Orion to her in the first place, actually, after he saves her anyway. So yeah, the magic system is all really cool. A lot of the monsters are described as just spells or chimeras or, artifacts that got really out of control and turned into monsters. Not many of them are actually naturally formed. So it really gets the sense that magic in this world is kind of, has a life of its own once the spell is cast. The Scholomance constantly tries to screw with her, and ruin her. She even leverages that because it's trying really hard to get her to get away from this monster, because if she has one of the few people around who might be able to deal with it, and it's going towards the freshman dorms. And she manages to grab this really powerful book at one point. I'll get into that later, but stuff like that. Hallways might move around because you hesitated too much. The school almost seems to delight in killing the most innocent mages and stuff like that. Orion is like the school hero. He goes around saving people from maleficers. And a lot of the seniors get angry at him because he saved so many people, and now there are so many monsters waiting downstairs because none of them have been fed. None of them have left. And they're all just waiting for us because you've been killing them all. So they've been getting worse. Because that's the principle of balance that keeps getting brought up. Anyway, we're going to go to spoiler talks now. That's the main plot. It's really good. I like the dark twist on fantasy and the magical school element. The voice acting is actually really good. I like it. The writing style is kind of interesting. I know some people didn't like it. I've read a few other written reviews about this, and I do know some people find Elle abrasive. I don't. I kind of like her, and a lot of people don't like how a lot of it's background and world building. But I kind of like it. It's kind of like we're in her thoughts as she's doing all these mundane stuff and kind of keep an eye out. She's halfway focused on the task, halfway thinking about her life and the things that have brought her here. It's kind of a fill in the background as we're going forward in the story, and I kind of like that. I know some people don't like it. They think there's not enough of a plot to it. I disagree, but, they do have their opinions. I thought you should know. So, let's get down to it. Spoilers from here on out. I highly recommend you read the book. Alright, let's go. So, Elle is just so much fun. I love it. Orion's might just be one of my favorite, clueless hero protagonists ever. So the thing with him is that he has the ability to absorb the magic of the monsters he kills, which means whenever he blasts them with a spell, he can basically recoup that magic. And if he needs a little bit more, well, he's part of this big coven clan, and all the other students that are in there with him formed like an alliance, and over the centuries, their clan has, a crystal stored in the school, passed down from, generation to generation. Every New York coven group has passed it down for almost a century, and all the excess magic has been stored there, so whenever they need to pull from it, they can pull from it. And, it's made their coven really, they're basically guaranteed to survive. But Orion's been going out of his way to save people. After he saves Elle, he at first thinks she might be a Maleficer, and that she killed the mundane born girl, I forget her name, who was actually killed by this other psycho who Elle had known about but hadn't said anything because she didn't want a psycho, magic vampire after her. That had already killed one person. She's trying to limit herself, stay under the radar, get known. And eventually she just gets fed up with the whole Enclave stuff. She's like, we don't all have equal chances. And like the whole thing, throughout the whole book, everybody's like, we're all fair. It's all fair. Everyone has a chance. And, everyone subtly realizes that, that's not true, because the Enclave kids are basically guaranteed a spot. They're guaranteed to get their freedom, because they're part of these magical covens with tons of magic backing them, and tons of students literally willing to use themselves as meat shields. It means they might get out and get into the coven afterwards. So, the Enclave, that's what they're called. The Enclave, not covens. Same thing, same idea, basically. So they're basically guaranteed a spot, and a lot of them are kind of oblivious about it. That's just the way it's always been. But Orion's, like, kind of the nice guy. Like, he doesn't talk with any of them. He kind of hangs out with them, but they really realize, we do that because our parents make us. We don't really know much about him. He saved all our lives, and we really like him, but he doesn't really talk to us. And it turns out he's been doing this since he was a kid, Whenever a monster threatened any of them, before the adults could even do it, he would be there, jumping on it, absorbing its magic, killing it. He liked protecting people, but, like, at the same time, everyone treated him kind of like that was all he was good for. He would go on guard duty because he enjoyed it, and that's, everyone knew him for that. He was the weirdo who liked fighting monsters in a clan that, in the system that was built around them not having to fight monsters. He's the son of this really important head wizard and all that. And it's revealed that Orion started trying to become friends with Elle because she didn't treat him like some, savior the second she saved her life. She treated him like any other person. She would get mad at him. She would snap at him. She would, point out flaws in his plans. She would say, "What are you doing, you idiot? You look like you're about to collapse from exhaustion. Sit down and eat a meal. Look, people are going to die. That's just what happens in here." And no one had really done that for him. Everybody was just like, "Well, that's Orion for you, going off to save someone else. Look at all those bags under his eyes. Man, he's awesome." And, meanwhile, Elle was like, "Orion, you need to sleep." She wasn't even nice about it either. She was just like, "Dude, stop acting like this. This is not, you're going to get yourself killed, and that's just going to be annoying." And when she realizes because Elle's whereas Ryan's been seen as like, this savior, this like, almost like a chosen one. Not really like a chosen one, but kind of like, he's the knight in shining armor for our whole coven, our whole enclave. He's the reason we're going to live through this. Elle's been looked at as, everyone just assumes she's up to no good. I mean, half of the school apparently later just assumes she's a Maleficer. Because someone that mean has to be. And I was like, you do realize most Maleficers are like the nicest people you'll ever meet because they're sociopaths who want to worm their way into your life so they can suck the life out of you? And it's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But everyone just assumes she's one because, how could she not be a dark wizard? Her very aura screams, it's about to rain. I just love it. The magic system is this really, organic magic. Like, it has this really textured feel to it. Like, whenever you cast a spell, that spell's, like, alive and stuff. It really gives the feeling of magic being something that the wizards more direct than control. They don't even store magic in themselves. They have to pull it from themselves, do dances in the woods, or, work. It's even revealed that the amount of magic is equivalent to the effort to getting it. It's not even what you do. Like, one girl does Sudoku puzzles because they're really hard for her and frustrating, and that's what helps her pull magic and gather it. Others will dance in, large covens using rituals. Elle does, like, push-ups and stuff every day and saves every drop she can get her hold of. It's really interesting. The whole thing starts, actually, with her trying to get a basic cleaning spell, and every time she tries, she's like, here's a book on turning a massive dead bodies into some, like, zombie slaves so they can clean your room for you. Or here's some demons that can do it. Or here's a flood of fire that'll burn all the goop out of your room. And it's like, you really get her frustration with, like, you're literally giving me nukes when I just need a rag. Ugh. She kind of turns the overpowered mage character on its head. Like, she's really powerful. She actually manages to kill a maw, which are like these really powerful monsters that only the strongest wizards in all of history have ever even killed. And for a long time, where killing them was thought to be more a myth than a reality. That's how that went. I think the characters are all really fun. Her two friends are kind of interesting. There was this one lady, she was trying to control Malphicer by slowly sucking the life out of these guinea pigs. And there's this other artificer lady who's one of the only people she'll trade with now. And in the end, they end up forming a kind of alliance, and Orion even joins on occasion. And I really liked them. They're fun. Elle's really good at leveraging any advantage she can get. She comes off as very resourceful as a character. So, yeah. I'm very excited to see where this takes us, especially with the ending, because the ending is Elle gets a message from her mother, and everybody's like, oh, you're her daughter? Can't be. You're like complete opposites. So it'll be really interesting to see now her secret's out, now that everybody knows who her mom is. And then her mom gave her a small message inscribed on like this onion that was enhanced to, have a little bit of healing properties. So it was a message that she could also eat. You gotta make use of every little advantage you can. And it says, do not trust Orion Blake. So, you know what? I'll see you guys when this next book comes out. Definitely. Highly recommend it, and yeah. Definitely check out our Twitter page. I would love for you guys to follow me on Twitter and at the Dragon Library 2. Just tell me what you want me to review. I'm totally open to any suggestions, and I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys want to support us today, you can just go down and donate stuff to us. That'd be great. The links for our Buy Me a Coffee page are in the description. If you want, you can check out our affiliate link. That was in the intro. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time for the Green Knight on Tuesday. That's going to be a lot of fun, hopefully. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Anyway, bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode, and thank you for listening to the Dragon's Library. Please subscribe to this podcast to be notified of new episodes. The Dragon's Library releases new episodes Tuesday and Friday each week, and you can follow us on Twitter at dragon_library2. If you want to suggest an episode topic, my email is in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for all your support.